So, obviously this is a emotional time for most people who are actually trying to process this and trying to deal with it and trying to understand how they feel. I think some people aren't dealing with it. Some people are just going on about their lives and acting like nothing else is going on. And basically just being ignorant to the entire situation, which, everybody has a choice in their life and what they want to do and what they want to achieve and what they want to overcome. So I guess I can't bring fault to anyone, but I can also say that that attitude doesn't support anything. It doesn't help anything. Nothing will change. Nothing will get better if we all don't come together and support the Black Lives Matter movement. So, I guess I've unfriended quite a few people on Facebook because I have been so vocal on Facebook about the whole Black Lives Matter movement and just injustice in general. I'm not like a huge Facebook person, so I think for a lot of people they were probably surprised that I had so many posts about it. But I've unfriended a lot of people since because there's just been a lot of stupidity and a lot of ignorance going on surrounding a lot of posts. And obviously it's not just me, it's pretty much everybody on Facebook who's arguing about something, and everybody has an opinion. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about or explain is that, or one of the things I guess that I'm aggravated the most by is when people say, well, what about this? Well, what about when Mexicans? What about when natives? What about when anything, okay? Anything. Insert whatever you want into the blank field. And I think those people are missing the entire point of the Black Lives Matter movement. The point is to unite people. So instead of saying what about, or why not, why didn't this happen when this happened, or why didn't this happen when that happened, is kind of silly, I guess, to put it in a fair, decent term. It's really silly and it doesn't make any sense, and I don't think people even recognize how silly it is because they're in the heat of the moment and they're just thinking about how they feel, so they're using selfish or they're using their own, anger or insecurities to put out onto something else that is really, really important right now. So I guess if I could say anything is to have people take a step back. If anybody feels like they're feeling that, I think people need to take a step back and look at what this whole movement stands for. Look at what this whole entire movement means for all people of color, not just Black Lives Matter. We are stronger together. And when people start to separate, different races and different people of color struggles, because we all know that all people of color struggle and they all have their own history that is rooted in the nonsense of America. So I think people are just misunderstanding what the Black Lives Matter movement is, and I think some of it might have to do with the name, but I think again the name speaks volumes to what it stands for and the whole reason that it came about. And in a sense, I honestly feel like the people who use other races examples of what their injustices are against Black Lives Matter movement are still discriminating in a sense. I mean, there's 1,000 ways to explain why the Black Lives Matter movement is important and why not saying all lives matter is not the right thing to say. So I'm really not going to get into that because anybody can look it up on Google. It's not something that I really need to explain or stress. But my point in this video is that it doesn't matter what color you are, black, white, red, brown, yellow, orange. Everybody needs to support Black Lives Matter. United. We need to be united in this time. So, for example, I just want to take color out of the equation because it seems like a lot of people are getting hung up on color right now, and it's not a specific color necessarily that should be of importance to people who are struggling to come to terms with, supporting Black Lives Matter. It is, but it isn't. Like, if it helps you understand it better, take color out of it for a second or for a couple minutes while I explain this to you. So George Floyd was arrested at a grocery store for supposed counterfeit bill being used. All the events that unfolded during his arrest ultimately led to his death being recorded by innocent bystanders and the arresting officers, all 4 of them, participated in the events that led to his death. George Floyd was not resisting. In fact, I don't even think I heard an officer say stop resisting, but I can't say for sure because I didn't watch the whole video. Like, I couldn't watch the whole video. I know a lot of people have, but I just couldn't. I can't do it. Like, I'm not one of those people who can stand by and watch that kind of suffering occur. It's sick. Like, it's sickening. It's sickening to me how, again, take the color out of it, how America can watch a grown man who was clearly struggling to live, struggling to catch a breath, struggling to use his voice. How can we all watch that and not be affected by it? Or just say, oh, well, he should have just followed the law, or he should have just not been using a counterfeit bill, or he should have just... That's disgusting. Like, anybody who can take that stance or that opinion is clearly not in tune with reality, not in tune with humanity, not in tune with anything humane. So again, I just explained that to you without using any racial terms about anything. And when you hear it that way, it's still sick. It's still disgusting. It's still inhumane. But then when you add the race into it, it makes it even more sick. It makes it even more disgusting. It makes it even more inhumane. Because black people have been suffering for hundreds of years in America simply because of the color of their skin. And it's that simple. It's that simple. So I'll admit, for me, this goes back to Trayvon Martin is where, for me, the Black Lives Matter movement all started, and where the pain just really hit me deep, because I had just lost a child a few years prior. My older girls are about the same age as Trayvon would have been, or he would have been now, but he was then. My girls wear hoodies. My nephew wears hoodies all the time, and it amazes me how something so simple can just be taken so out of context as soon as somebody says that you're black, or that you're brown, or that you're darker colored than, you're not white. Basically, you're not white. Let's keep it simple. I wear hoodies, you know what I'm saying? So like, if I was walking through someplace at night with a hoodie on, and somebody could easily mistaken me for a man, I'm sure, like, you know, I'm not super feminine, I guess, and be killed because somebody thought I was robbing, or somebody thought I was whatever. If that man could get away with it, and he wasn't even a police officer, if that man could get away with it and he wasn't even a police officer, like, what type of message are we sending to society, to humanity, to human beings? It's something I'll never understand. So anyways, back to unity, right? So don't let the term Black Lives Matter deter you from what the point of the whole movement is. Everybody needs to support Black Lives Matter, because the ultimate and end goal is to bring justice to all people. It's not fair that anyone can get killed by a police officer and the police officer not be held responsible or charged. So widen your lens, widen your view. Stop focusing on the tiny little details, because they don't really matter. You know, what matters is the countless times that black people have been killed and lost their lives at the hands of law enforcement who are not held accountable. It's that simple. It's that simple. So, to me, when white people use and bring other things up to try to diminish what's happening to people of color or black people in general. For me, it's for black people, but, you know, for natives, it's for natives. For Mexicans, it's for Mexican, you know, because obviously we all have a culture that we value. And that's okay to value your culture and make it important to you. So my last point is that white people, and I have a lot of white friends-ish, and they're mostly like people I've worked with, but my family is all mixed. We're black, we're white, we're native, we're Mexican, we're Puerto Rican, we're Asian, we're whatever. Anyways, back to that. The reason why I've unfriended a lot of my white friends on Facebook is because a lot of them are bringing like stuff to the table that has no relevance. So I've had people bring up, oh, well, more white people are killed in the US than black people. Well, that's mighty funny, and like whatever. Clearly like not educated on the topic, and that's immediate unfriend for me, because I think it's silly in this day and age to be uninformed about anything when there's so much information out there to be had, to be read, to be discovered. So yeah, like I said, I've unfriended a lot of people because, I think it's better if we just don't even associate, because it doesn't make any sense. I've even unfriended people just because I don't like the comments in the post that they posted. Just because this is huge. Like, I don't know. But, it's really sad to think that in this day and age, and how far we've advanced in technology and healthcare and anything. I mean, if you look at 2020 compared to 1950, there's been so much growth materially, but not enough growth emotionally or humanely or socially, I guess. And that's not to say that there's none, but it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. So, just consider that to wrap it up. Try not to focus so much on, tiny details. Try to understand that we're stronger together. We're stronger united. And just because the name of something is Black Lives Matter movement, don't get it twisted that the goal is only to benefit black people. Like, it's to help us all, to help humanity, to help socially, to help everybody. And I guess people are like probably wondering why it's so important to me, or why I'm choosing to talk about it, or why it matters, or whatever. But I think because I've been waiting for like somebody to say something impactful, or somebody to say something compassionate, or somebody to say something that offers some kind of something, and nobody's really saying anything. I mean, some people are, but not like I expected. So yeah, and the fact that it's really sad for me to think that so many people in America are missing out on opportunities to get to know black people just because of the color of their skin, and people don't want to support black people or the movement because it says Black Lives Matter. It's just unfortunate. It's sad, because some of the greatest men I know are black men. And I could not imagine what my life would be without those influential black men in my life. Some are here still and some aren't. My dad, to me, you know, he's the greatest black man I know, you know. My brothers, it's really sad to think that this is what it's come to. Ultimately, what I want people to know and understand is don't get hung up on the details. Like, yes, we want peaceful protesting. I don't think anybody wants any violence. But don't focus on those small details. Focus on the big picture of what is happening and what needs to happen. Think about the big picture. Think about the goal. Think about the end result, potential end result, hopefully positive end result. But all people need to unite. Period.